think I entered at the right time. It was going through an exploration phase, and I could feel presence there. The coach was pretty much involved. There was silence, there was pause, there was reflection. So I could feel, the coach was able to touch all these three aspects. The coach was exploring and was curious and was trying to, understand. The coach was giving enough space for the coachee to come up with whatever ideas she had in mind, and choose the way forward. There was one point wherein the coachee did ask the coach, what do you think about it? And I think the coach handled it really well, in redirecting it back to the coachee. So it was a very direct question, and I was waiting that what the answer will be from the coach, but the coach directed it back very nicely. So it was good. Outside maintaining presence, maybe certain questions were very long. And I think we have this habit of asking something and then explaining and then re-explaining. Probably that can be reduced, is what I
Yeah.
felt. And certain questions were closed, like yes and no. Is this, something you want to do, or you want to do this? Are you seeking this? The coachee could have replied yes and no, and the conversation could have ended. This is outside, CC5, what I felt. Okay, so then the other session, I'm sorry I couldn't capture much because I entered towards the end, wherein I think goal setting was already half done or it was progressing. So I really couldn't, hear the exploration part and capture a lot of CC5. However, I think the coach was guiding. That is what I felt. Again, I apologize. I did not hear the full conversation. I just joined at the end, but I did hear some questions like, have you checked with your community? Have you checked with people around you? uh, you know do you want to get an intern into the conversation? Do you want to visit college and universities? Can you go and talk to your customer? Now, I do not know whether these points the coachee brought into the conversation earlier, or the coach was guiding towards the end when the goal setting was happening. So the coach knows it better than me because I did not hear the full conversation, but I found the ending very guided, very, very guided. uh, I couldn't really capture, presence towards the end. So I think that's it, Subhash.
Just to pick up on what Kriti said, even if the client had thought of those options, had looked at them, if the client is not bringing up at the action stage, we should just prompt the client to, are you missing something, or allow the client to reflect. But if you're prompting the client, it's a definite no, with limited context. Just building on what Kriti said. So that becomes the coach's agenda to, remind the client and get the client to execute. Avoidable, again, with limited, context. Second, CC8 action has to be as conversational as the rest of the conversation. Typically, we do CC3 so well and exploration well, dancing in the moment. CC8 becomes sometimes tick in the box. Generally, I'm not, I didn't see the conversation, so that's a word of caution. Yeah, so presence, I'm sure Mani and Priya would have covered something at the beginning. I don't have anything specific to add unless there is any question specifically on the competency presence.
Mani and Priya, Mani did share some stuff at the beginning of the call with the I'd say the description of the competency and the definition of it, and Priya added to it. But I think there was a lot of feedback that was given within the rooms, in my room also, because I was a coachee myself, and there was good feedback that was given. And Action, in our room also, action was something that was discussed as how you're saying. It's very interesting that it should be conversational and should not really be something that the coach should pressurize themselves with trying to get the client to. So, and Kriti just shared about questions, them not being open-ended and not guiding. So there's a lot, I think, that could be processed in today's conversation about CC5. And literally, like how Mani said in the beginning of the call, that it can't be that you're not present in your other life and suddenly you're a coach and you become present. It can't happen like
Very
that.
true. Very
So,
true.
any other questions, guys, that you have, Rohan, Vasu, Pushpa, that you would like to ask Subhash and Kriti? We're lucky that Subhash is here. You still have 5 minutes with him if you want to ask anything. I think this is the space.
I have a question, please.
Sure, please.
Um, if the coachee is actually not thinking on those lines, is it good to prompt them in those areas?
No. So the coaching may not be ready for those actions. So what happens? No, what the coach may think as a simple, obvious action may not be simple or obvious for the coachee at that point of time. So it's a test of patience also for the coach, especially if the coach brings it up. Simple example: somebody says, "I'm not a morning person. I start getting about 4:30 and start running to lose weight." Right? A hypothetical example. It might be quite silly for me as a morning person that it's a no-brainer that you get time only in the morning, not so much in the evening. But no, the coachee may not be ready. So prompting is still a violation of even the code of ethics, if I can underline. Because then it becomes coach's agenda. Then you're not being a coach, you're being a mentor or whatever, guide or whatever. So, the metaphor that we use, meet the client where the client is from golf, the golfers go and look for the ball and then play from there. Same is here. And also the belief that once the client is ready or the next session or the later, the client will make up for this loss of time. What happens now? Our interest is as for the benefit of the client. Is the client going to miss out something? No, the client will make up. And that has to come from our faith in the client's potential, not even anything else. Not just capabilities, right? The client is inherently, has the high potential to make up for it. And then the client will make up. Yeah. And you know, it's also our ability to let go. Yeah. Does it answer?
Yes, sure. Thanks so much. Thanks, Subhash.
Subhash, if I may ask you, what do you mean when you say our ability to let go?
So, just staying with my example, that I think somebody has to lose weight, you have to do something additional on the exercise and diet. That is my point of view. And you and me understand point of view better, right? Now, if the client is not talking about either doing anything additional as an exercise, nor doing anything on the space of diet, but the client starts with another three items, right? I'll go to the gym. I'll cut down on something or something like that, right? I'll not sit. I'll walk after every meal. So you have to be patient with that. So the assumption that getting up early and doing something are critical and managing that is critical for the client to lose weight is my perception of the problem. So that I need to let go. It's like, that's why this is closest to being a mother. Mother gives rope, right? The mother's trust on the client is so unlimited that sometimes it doesn't work. Too much of rope, right? But I think this is the same thing. Because that is unconditional love also. It comes from a mother's unconditional love. Ki, my kid is fine. My kid will figure out. So there is no rush to take actions and do it. And which is also partly driven by our education and corporate experience and business experience. Does it help?
It does help, and I was just thinking that the CCC4, the building trust, comes before presence. And like, because you brought up the example of the mother, because you brought up the thing of point of view, letting go of your point of view and allowing the client to choose whatever they want to
Yes.
choose in the moment. But for that, the building of trust has to be very, very important, right?
Yeah.
So would you say that presence cannot really happen unless there is trust, or that's not true?
Good question. So I'll step back and answer one more point to Vasu's question. If the client is not coming up with any aggressive action item, it could also be a reflection of the lack of trust. And it is more subconscious. The client may not feel partnered or may not feel supported to come up with an action which is aggressive outside the comfort zone at that point of time, because the client may not be sure whether the coach can truly support me to come up with that action. And then it's both the client's lack of perception of lack of trust or the real lack of trust, right? For example, if the coach is overweight, the client will subconsciously we process all this too fast, right? And we are not present fully. So that is an additional point to Vasu. On your question, what was your question? Sorry, I forgot.
I
I'm
was
not
about
present.
No worries. I'm very, very tired. I will just, and in case you want to answer that
No,
later.
no, 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 no. Please go ahead because I
What I
had the
was
answer.
asking was that what I was realizing when you were saying that, and even in previous coaching sessions, unless you have that camaraderie, that trust that
Yeah,
is
yeah.
built over at least two or
Correct.
three sessions. So my question was, unless there is that CC4, the building of trust is there, you really can't have presence, or can you? It is
You can
ineffective.
have. You can have. So trust enhances presence. Let me put it that way. But trust may not be necessary for that presence. And this is the first time I'm getting this question. It's a fabulous question. So as a coach, I might be fully present, right? The client may not be present because something can get triggered in the session, or the client has come with something else that is bothering the client, or the client is not ready, not in a mood to go deep, right? Sometimes we just want to you know be at the surface. Not every session has to be caterpillar to butterfly. There are different reasons for the client, but trust can be one of them. But the point is, if you are able to vibrate at that deeper presence, the client, even if the client doesn't get in the session, the clients will get that even after the session.
That is so amazing. If
Yeah.
you
So
if
that's the beauty of coaching.
if you can vibrate at that level, then even if the client doesn't get it in the session, he'll get it after the session. So if you can vibrate
Yes.
presence and trust for the client, that
Yes. Yes. Beautifully summarized.
beautiful. Thank
Yeah.
you so very much for this. Thank you. Priti, would you like to add anything else to that?
No, I won't add anything to what Subhash has said. I was also listening.
Beautiful. So I think we are at the top of the hour. Subhash is tired, and I'm very grateful that you could join us. Subhash, without you, the session is always incomplete, and I'm really immensely grateful. You made it worth the while, with
Thank
this
you.
15 minutes being here. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
And thank you everyone for being here today. We hope to see you again a couple of weeks down the line on the fourth Wednesday. So we're doing it second and fourth Wednesday every month now. Do please let your friends know. We've opened it out to outside of community also. How much more fun can we have together? So bye-bye and good night. Thank you very
Bye.
much.
Good
Bye-bye.